Welcome to Quick Tips for Consecutive Interpreting. In this video we're going to be talking about clarification, and this will be the first in a series of videos dealing with tips for consecutive interpreting. In some of our previous videos, which you may have seen, we typically have the tips followed by examples in Spanish. However, in these videos they'll be a lot quicker and we'll just give the instruction. If you're interested in seeing some of our other videos, you can go to the search bar in YouTube and you can look up Interpreter Training, parentheses Part 1, or Interpreter Training, parentheses Part 2. Now, a professional interpreter should be speaking in first person. That is, when someone says, "I went to the store," you interpret, "I went to the store," not, "He said he went to the store." So it's, "I went to the store, I went to the store." Why did you go to the store? Why did you go to the store? You're staying in first person. So that brings up the question, how do we clarify and differentiate ourselves when we're interpreting in first person? And the way that we do that is, if someone says, they mumble something and you didn't understand what they said, then you simply turn to the other party and say, "As interpreter, I need to clarify something." And then you turn back to that party, what did you mean when you said, what was that word you used? And then they'll tell you, and then you drop right back down to your conduit transparent role and you go right back into it. "Oh, I said I went to the store." "Okay, thank you. I went to the store." And then you're right back into your interpreting role. So it seems easy enough, but there are three big mistakes that I see interpreters make over and over when it comes to clarification. And so we're going to address these three mistakes very briefly. The first mistake that interpreters often make when clarifying is that they don't alert every party to the fact that clarification is taking place. Sometimes a word will be said or you don't understand what they said, and so instead of saying, "As interpreter, I need to clarify something," instead it's just like, "What did you say?" "Oh, I said this." "Oh, wait, no, what's that mean?" "No, what's this?" Well, this person doesn't know what's going on. They don't know the language. All they see is two people talking back and forth. That's very frustrating for the other party who's being excluded, because they're just sitting there wondering, what is going on? Why is he talking to him? He should be interpreting for me. That's why we always want to let them know, "As interpreter, I need to clarify something." And then they're put at ease, you can do your clarification, and then go right back into interpreting. So always include everyone, no matter which side it's on. "I need to clarify something." Let them know what's going on. Otherwise, they're going to become very frustrated and feel like their message isn't getting across because they don't know what you're saying and they keep seeing you talking to that other individual. The second mistake that interpreters often make is not returning to the transparent conduit role of an interpreter after they make a clarification. It's very common that I see interpreters that want to insert themselves in the session. They want to be a part of it. But that's not our job. That's not our role. When we're interpreting, we're not adding, omitting, or changing, substituting anything. All we're doing is giving the exact message back and forth. But what tends to happen is, "As interpreter, I need to clarify something." And then you clarify something, and then that interpreter stays up in the session, giving their opinion, kind of helping someone formulate what they want to say to make it sound good or accurate. And we've got to, once we make that clarification, we've got to come right back down to that conduit role, disappear, and just pass the message back and forth. One of the biggest complaints that I get is when an interpreter gives their opinion or inserts themselves or is kind of involved in the session. Don't insert yourself in the session. If you have to clarify, do an appropriate clarification. "As interpreter, I need to clarify," and you clarify. And when it's done, you come right back down to the conduit role. The third mistake that interpreters often make when clarifying is that they provide unnecessary clarification. The times when you need to clarify something are actually very small. Some people will clarify way too much. The only time you should clarify is when you don't understand a word or the message to interpret. If someone says, "I went to the store yesterday and I rode around on a chicken." Well, you understand their words. You don't know what they're talking about, but you understand their words. That is not a time for clarification. as the interpreter, you stay in that transparent role and you say, the other day I went to the store and I rode around on a chicken. And then it's this person's responsibility, if they wonder about that, to ask, what do you mean you rode around on a chicken? And as in, what do you mean you rode around on a chicken? Well, I have this, something, and they can explain what they mean by riding on a chicken. And maybe that's going to reveal a mental health issue, or maybe there's some explanation to it. But that is not a place where you clarify, because you understand the words. So you pass the words to this person, and you let them do what they want with it. They can say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then they can explain. The only times, again, that you should be clarifying are when you don't understand a word. If you don't understand what they're talking about, or if it was confusing to you, that's not your time to clarify. Another example might be, let's say it's a social worker that says to a client, I need you to go downtown and take a CPD. Well, you don't know what a CPD is, but you understood what they said. That's not time for you to clarify what the CPD is. You just say, I need you to go downtown and take a CPD. And then the client, if they know what that is, great. If they don't know what it is, then they can say, what is a CPD? And then you interpret, what is a CPD? So you have to understand that most of the time, there's not a need for clarification. You just need to pass the message and let the client or let the other party work out their confusion with each other. The only time you clarify, again, is if you don't understand a word, or you don't understand something that was mumbled or something like that. It's never that you're confused by what's being said. If you understand the words to interpret them, and let the two parties figure it out amongst themselves. In conclusion, be a proactive interpreter that uses appropriate clarification. Make sure that your clarification is clear to everyone. Always return to the transparent role immediately after clarifying, and do not insert yourself into the session unnecessarily.